A chaotic end to the legislative session. That was the scene minutes before midnight last night at our state capitol. Negotiations broke down between the parties as the time in the session ran out. Morgan Wolf explains the big items that passed and a few that didn't.
Two political experts from each side of the aisle agreeing that the Uber and Lyft compromise was the headliner of this session.
As a DFL strategist, we normally don't like what's called preemption, or the state passing a law stopping what's happening at city halls all across the state. But this was the type of thing that was going to go beyond the bounds of the city of Minneapolis. And so fortunately, the legislature acted, and I think that's a positive thing.
A wage increase for drivers, but riders should also be expecting an increase in cost. The next big item, $30 million going to emergency medical services in rural areas.
It is a starting point. This doesn't meet all of the needs that were identified by ambulance providers.
Next, the paid family leave changes to clarify the benefits and costs.
For a lot of companies, they look at the bottom line, and there's some concerns there.
This is the first, but it won't be the last kind of tinkering before this goes into effect.
The governor's been busy signing measures into law, including the, quote, Taylor Swift bill, which requires ticket marketplaces to share total costs of tickets, including all those fees, up front.
And I think the legislature's taken a step, but to really take this on, we're probably going to need Congress to act.
Several big items that didn't pass: the Equal Rights Amendment, sports betting mobile legalization, and a bonding bill that missed the Senate deadline by 30 seconds. We asked our analysts, what grade would you give state lawmakers?
I would give it a B.
Probably give this session like a B-, C+ overall. It's not a budget year. You know, most of the major work of this 2-year session was completed last year.
Both of them critical of the mismanagement of timing in the Senate.
I think it could have been managed better, but at the same time, I think folks in the minority who are claiming this was kind of a rollover kind of contributed to that timeline issue. And so both sides got some blame here.
Legislators should not be voting on a 1,400-page bill that no one can read, right? That is just generally bad planning.
There were a couple things that Minnesotans really wanted to get done. Obviously, one of them was making sure that Uber and Lyft, that service continued. It would have impacted millions of Minnesotans.
You know, the coming together on ride sharing was a high point of this session.
The governor weighing in on the chaotic ending there, too, saying no to a possible special session to finish some of those measures that weren't finished. Now, assuming that's true, the legislature could look different the next time that they do meet, since it will be following elections. Back to you.
All right, Morgan, thanks.